Hi everyone, welcome back to another edition of Tech Tuesday with the Canyon Collective. Today we're going to run you through tubeless setup. As a mountain biker, this is definitely something that you need to know. So you're going to need obviously a tubeless ready tyre. For us, we're using a 2925 downhill casing Assegai. It's getting a bit moist in Australia at the moment, so we do need something on the front that has a bit more bite. Moist. 44mm valves from Muck-Off. Super good valve. They don't generally clog, so that's pretty rad. You'll need some scissors, believe it or not, to cut your rim tape. You'll need tubeless rim tape. Muck-Off also. Cool part about these guys is they make different width rim tapes. So basically you can get 25, 30, a whole different bunch of widths. So today we're going to be using 25mm because lo and behold, the X471 from DT Swiss is 25mm internal. So that's us. You'll need sealant, you need some form of disc brake cleaner, isopropyl alcohol, some form of a white spirit to clean your rim bed prior to putting your rim tape on. And then for instructional purposes today, we have the Crankbrothers Klic pump with a burst tank on it. That'll get it nice and inflated. Bob's your uncle, easy done. Obviously this is similar. You don't have to have a 471 rim. Any round mountain bike rim will do, preferably round. If it's dented and square, it's very difficult sometimes to get tubeless set up. So try have a nice round rim, preferably a new one, and then you'll be dialed, be no worries. So first things first, we're going to quickly just give a quick once over on the rim bed. Just clean it up, make it. Try not to spray your hands too much with this stuff. And then just give it a quick wipe down, make sure it's clean. Some of you might notice there is a layer of tape already on this rim. I use a thicker base tape. Pro tip, helps with spoke penetration through, like, uniformity of the rim, helps with spoke penetration through the tape, helps with preventing flats. So then we're going to grab your tubeless rim tape. This is where your scissors come in handy. So basically you are going to peel that up, find your valve, start one side of the valve. I always start opposite side and pull it across. Gives it a nice seal at the valve. Pull it nice and firm, holding it down, and press it with your thumb through the center. You really want it stuck through the center. So that's where it's sealing all the spoke holes up. So that's where you want it pressing down. Be patient with this. Don't rush it. Stretch it nice and tight over, and you'll get a beautiful seal. Keep in mind this is the main part of your seal. And then just overlap slightly, press it down nice and tight, get your scissors. The Muck-Off rim tape also comes with these stickers. Super handy for putting over the overlap or over the join of the tape. It's just an extra bit of security. The last thing that you want is to do all this work, put your sealant in, put your tyre on, and then it not seal. You'll end up needing a few beers after that one. So, done deal. Tubeless valves next. Open your pack up. Wind off the lock ring. Tighten that up. You want something pointy and sharp to get through your valve hole. Just slightly smaller than the valve itself so that it gets nice good seal in there. grommet over your lock ring, tighten that sucker right up. If you can't get good purchase, cool part about these muck-off valves is they do have a formula in the top if you need to get them in or out. Generally finger tight. The lock ring's knurled so you can get a fair bit of grip on there without needing tools. Doesn't have to be crazy tight either. That's a bit of a myth. So unless you are struggling with sealing at the valve. But you don't want it crazy tight, particularly on a trailer, enduro bike, whatever you want to call it. You don't want it crazy tight because if you do get a flat for whatever reason, you rip the entire sidewall out of your tyre. It does happen. You want to be able to pull the valve out to be able to get a tube in. So you want to make sure that with Maxxis tyres, you want to make sure that the name of the tyre, Assegai Dissector, that's the tyre you really want. Assegai Dissector, DHR, etc. You want that on the drive side of your wheel. So rotor away from the logo. I always line the valve up with the Maxxis logo just because it looks better. It's just me being a tweaker. You don't have to. I'm not gonna lose sleep at night if you don't, but you should because it looks better. Generally that first side should just pop over with your hands. You shouldn't need tyre levers at this point. Cool. Start of the valve I find is easier. Pop it in next to the valve. Now if you push the tyre into the middle of the rim bed, it makes for a lot easier job for you. So this is where I put sealant in now, so I have a nice open base. Try not to push it through the valve. That's just me being me. You can do whatever you want. Shake up your sealant. Whatever sealant you're using, generally it has particles in it, so you want them to be all around the sealant, not just hanging out at the bottom, waiting for you to get to your last tyre and then realise that your sealant is too thick. Cool. Now, muck-off bottles they have increments on the side of the bottle. It's super cool, helpful. You want to look for, so we're doing 29 MCB, 105mm to 140mm. Being a downhill tyre, I always put 140mm. I put the heavier end of the spectrum on. So you can see this is a full bottle. So you go 100mm, around about there. Cool. It's about 150mm. And then spin that around so all the sealant falls down to the bit that you actually have closed up. Fold your tyre over. Generally you don't get very much mess when you're doing it like this either, which is beneficial, particularly if you're doing it in your kitchen and your mum or your wife is getting grumpy at you, or your dad for that matter, or your husband for that matter. And then you just pull it over with a tyre lever. Generally the tyre has enough grip down the base and you should just be able to hold it on with your thumb. Just little bit by little bit, pop it over the sidewall of the rim. Make sure that it's all on and happy. And then we're ready to inflate. So undo your valve core, grab your pump. Now on the side of the Crankbrothers pump you have increments, so generally I would go to about 60 to 80 psi, so you're going to need 15 to 20 strokes of the pump to fill the boost tank up to get your tyre to inflate. So let's go. You're going to make sure that it's on the correct, whether you've got Presta valves, Schrader valves. Generally if you're doing tubeless you've got Presta, so you thread that on there, thread that on your valve, and then it is as simple as flicking this switch and watching the magic happen. and then add some more once it's up there. So while you're pumping it up, you just want to watch for the bead growing around the edge of your tyre, just popping over the lip. That will indicate that the tyre is seated. So we have it perfectly seated on the brake side. We just need it to pop up a little bit more on the drive side. Generally, I'll go to about 35 to 40 PSI when I'm setting tyres up. Just to make sure that they're seated nicely, and generally it saves the trouble in the long run. So flick that across, that way your boost tank's still got juice in it, so next time you're pumping a tyre up you don't need to put as much effort in. Always tighten your valve up so you don't lose any wind. Valve cap on, pop your pump to your side. You want to shake the sealant around a little bit on the inside of your tyre. Get it around the bead. Work it all the way around. Give it a spin. Make sure you don't have your fingers in there anywhere. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the job done. Now we can go ride in a bit moister conditions than we're used to with the Assegai. Yeah, happy days. Hopefully that was informative for you. It's as simple as that. It's a 10-minute job. If you've got all the right gear, we're keeping testing, keeping training, and we'll see you hopefully next week. Cheers guys, have a good one.